Scientists have discovered that over 86,000 earthquakes took place under Yellowstone National Park in the United States over a period of 15 years.
Something deep under Yellowstone just exploded. But here's the real question. Was this just a random blast, or the first warning sign of something far more terrifying? Tourists thought it was thunder, but the sky was clear. Then the ground shook. A roar ripped through the valley and steam shot into the sky. The explosion that followed forced officials to make a decision no one expected, to shut down Yellowstone National Park. Not just a trail, not just a section, the entire park. And the question is why? It all began with a sound, a deep rumble underfoot. At first, visitors thought it was thunder rolling through the mountains, but the sky was clear, not a single cloud, no storm in sight. Then it happened. A muffled roar thundered through the valley. The earth jolted. Steam and dust burst high into the air. Birds scattered in panic. Even geysers, which erupt like clockwork, began sputtering off schedule. The sound wasn't just loud, it was physical. It pressed into people's chests, rattling bones as if the earth itself had taken a breath. Tourists froze in shock. Some said the ground shifted, as if it lifted for a split second. Others swore it sounded like a cannon firing beneath their feet. But everyone agreed on one thing. This was no ordinary geyser eruption. This was something violent, something unexpected, something that felt wrong. And here's where the mystery begins. If this wasn't a normal geyser, then what exactly had happened? Rangers reacted instantly. Whistles pierced the air. Radios buzzed with urgent commands. Families were ushered out of trails. Within minutes, entrances were blocked. Helicopters circled overhead. Even the skies above Yellowstone were restricted. But why such extreme measures? Why not just close off the area near the blast? Because in Yellowstone, one small mistake can be catastrophic. The last thing officials wanted was thousands of tourists scattered across an unstable park. So the order was given: clear it out. Everyone. Now. And that left people asking, what did scientists know that the public didn't? Within hours, geologists arrived at the scene. Their first fear? Magma. If molten rock was pushing upward, it could mean Yellowstone's supervolcano was stirring. And if that system ever erupted, the results would be apocalyptic. But when they began investigating, they realized this wasn't magma. What they had witnessed was something called a hydrothermal explosion. Now, on the surface, that might sound less dangerous. After all, Yellowstone is filled with steam vents, geysers, and hot springs. Isn't this just more of the same? Not quite. Hydrothermal explosions occur when water trapped deep underground is superheated by magma. If the rock above cracks, that water flashes instantly into steam. The result is an eruption so violent it can rip open the earth. Most of the time, these blasts are small. Many go unnoticed. But this one was different. The crater was wider. The sound carried farther. The seismic signal was deeper. And that's what alarmed scientists most. Because if this blast had originated deeper underground than usual, it meant something in Yellowstone's hidden plumbing system had shifted. And once those pathways change, there's no going back. So here's the chilling question. Had Yellowstone's underground system just been permanently altered? Seismic instruments confirmed unusual activity. Small earthquakes had rattled beneath the surface just before the explosion, too faint for tourists to feel, but clear on the monitors. And they weren't random. They came in clusters, sharp bursts of cracking rock, and then stopped suddenly. Moments later, the explosion struck. That pattern raised serious concerns. Was Yellowstone breaking apart below the surface? Was pressure moving into new areas where it had never gone before? And if so, what comes next? Even after the blast, the signs didn't stop. Across the park, geysers erupted unpredictably. Pools that had been crystal clear turned cloudy and brown. Hot springs hissed louder than ever. Animals seemed to sense the danger too. Bison moved away from thermal zones. Birds avoided valleys near the blast. Wolves were spotted pacing restlessly on the ridges. It was as if Yellowstone's ecosystem was reacting to something humans couldn't fully understand. And here's the terrifying thought. Animals often know before we do. Were they fleeing from something bigger that hasn't happened yet? When scientists finally reached the crater, the scene was unlike anything they'd seen in years. A wide vent had torn open, spewing steam into the cold air. Snow around the site had melted in minutes. Trees were scorched and stripped bare. Rocks were shattered into fragments. The blast zone looked like a battlefield where nature itself had launched an attack. Thermal cameras revealed something even worse. This wasn't just a single vent, it was a chain of ruptures. Heat was spreading underground, radiating in patterns scientists had never recorded before. Samples were taken carefully. Early results revealed that the blast had tapped into layers usually sealed off from the surface. Layers that, once exposed, cannot simply close again. One geologist called it the most unpredictable shift we've ever recorded in Yellowstone. And that's when panic set in. Because once new pathways open underground, no one can predict where the next explosion will strike. Local communities felt the impact immediately. Towns around Yellowstone depend on millions of visitors every year. Overnight, hotels canceled bookings, shops closed, restaurants emptied. For businesses, the closure was devastating. But beyond money, there was something far more unsettling: fear. If Yellowstone could unleash such a violent blast without warning, what else could it do? Was this the start of something bigger? Families quietly asked whether living so close to the park was safe anymore. Some even considered moving away. For them, Yellowstone no longer felt like a natural wonder. It felt like a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, scientists across the world scrambled for answers. Satellite data revealed small uplifts in the land, just inches, but enough to suggest movement deep below. Drones equipped with thermal cameras scanned the blast zone, tracking heat spreading underground. Gas monitors showed spikes in carbon dioxide and sulfur, evidence that new fractures had opened. Every piece of data told the same story. Yellowstone's system had been disturbed in ways never seen before. And here's the chilling part. Once a system like this changes, predicting what happens next becomes nearly impossible. Some scientists believe this wasn't a single explosion at all. Instead, it may have been part of a chain reaction pressure shifting from one area to another, bursting open vent after vent. If true, that means Yellowstone could experience more explosions in the near future. Some may be small, but others, they could be powerful enough to reshape entire valleys. And here's the question no one wants to ask out loud. If pressure is creeping closer to Yellowstone's magma chamber, what happens then? To understand the stakes, you need to know what Yellowstone is sitting on. Beneath the park lies one of the largest magma chambers on Earth. Scientists call it a supervolcano because of its potential to unleash eruptions 1,000 times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. Helens. In the last 2 million years, Yellowstone has erupted catastrophically 3 times. Each eruption blasted ash across continents and changed global climates. Now, most experts agree another super eruption isn't likely anytime soon. But here's the thing. In a system this massive, even smaller shifts can be devastating. Hydrothermal explosions, if they become more frequent, could tear open Yellowstone's valleys, destroy forests, and make huge swaths of land uninhabitable. And the truth is, no one knows how far this latest event will go. For now, Yellowstone remains closed. Rangers are on high alert. Scientists are monitoring every tremor, every burst of steam, every unexpected geyser eruption. But hydrothermal explosions don't follow rules. They don't give warnings. They can happen again, anywhere in the park, at any time. So ask yourself, was this just a one-time event? A violent reminder of Yellowstone's power? Or was it the first sign that something much larger is on the way? Because if it is, the consequences won't just be local. They won't just affect Wyoming or Montana. They won't just impact the United States. They could change the world. For now, the only certainty is this: Yellowstone is alive, and it's restless. The explosion that forced its closure was not the end. It was a warning. A warning that beneath the forests, rivers, and geysers lies one of the most powerful forces on Earth. And the question we're all left with is simple. When Yellowstone speaks again, will the world be ready?